Hey guys, Hemi Vertible here. Hey, so last week when we went up to the park, we were looking at my gauges, and I showed you that that fuel gauge was dead as a doorknob. It showed empty, no fuel. Didn't have a whole lot in it, but had enough in it to get me back home and up on the jacked up in here, and I probably pulled about 3 gallons out of it. So I think I have enough gas out of it. I'll be able to pull that sending unit out of it. What I've done is I've taken the wire that's connected to the sending unit that comes from the fuel gauge back there, and I tested that, and it showed that it was getting 6 volts down to 3 volts, 6 volts, 3 back and forth. It sends that from that transformer there on the back of the dash. It sends a pulsating signal through to get that gauge to come up. And I also did a continuity test on the sending unit, and it seemed like it was fine, but when I grounded that wire, it ran that gas gauge straight up. So evidently, either, even though I've got continuity on the sending unit, it's bad, or the little float could have fallen off inside the tank, and or it could have just gotten waterlogged or gas logged, so to speak, saturated with just sitting in that tank for, you know, I don't know what it was changed. It looks like the tank is new, and it looks like obviously that sending unit had been replaced. I don't know where he got it from. It does have a made in Taiwan sticker on it, and I've seen quite a few of those, but that doesn't mean it's a bad product, but it may not last the test of time, so to speak, sitting in a tank with fuel in it. But I picked up this nice new one here from OER, and basically, you know, you can see on there, you got your 3/8 line and your 1/4 inch return line, and you have your sending unit connector there that goes to the little rheostat that tells you whether it's full or empty. Now, the only thing holding that thing on there is that little clip and that float, and then you can see that float, you know, it's got solder around it or whatever, so if they didn't do a really good job soldering, or you had something in the tank or something that ate away at that solder, or if it just fell out of the clip, the thing could be reading E forever. So we're going to get that thing pulled out of there, and we're going to pop this brand new baby in there, reconnect it. Got a couple hoses to take off. I had my ground wire from the 3/8 line to the body line, and we had ground here, and you know, we had continuity between here and here, but no power coming out from inside of there to make the fuel gauge work. So looks like the fuel gauge is good, the wiring is good, everything's good, except we're not getting any full signal, so we're going to swap that baby out. I'm going to set that there for now. I'll take you back and I'll show you up underneath there before I get to working on it. I had to jack it up and put the jacks under the body, because if you put it up on the jack up on the rear, the jack stands, the rear is like right in the way of the sending unit coming out. So I basically went ahead and jacked it all the way up. So that's the whole deal up in there. And getting in the way of the light. So, but you know, it's a pretty simple setup. You got the 2 hoses, and then, like I said, you got the little wire here. This is the wire that I, you know, I just grounded that to the fuel sending unit there, and it ran that wire all the way, the fuel gauge all the way up. And this whole sending unit, it's just kind of held in there with a ring, and it's got a gasket behind it. But this ring basically gets tapped around underneath the lip of this tank here, and I'll have to tap it back this way, you know, right, well actually righty tighty, lefty loose, so I got to tap it this way so that it'll spin back off of there. And when you spin this thing off of there, it pulls out, and then the whole sending unit will pull out. And like I said, I've got, you know, it all jacked up so that I can get out from over top of that rear end there. If it you know, if I didn't let that rear end down, there's no way I'm getting that thing out of there. So let me go ahead and we'll pop this sucker out of there, and get that ring off, and try not to get too much gas on us. And I'll show you what it looks like after we get it out of there. All right, so we made quick work of that. It just came off pretty easy. And this the ring, she popped loose pretty quick. Take the ring off of there. You see it's got the little raised sections on it that catch that little hook on the right there on the tank. So the sending unit's kind of coming out of there. So let's see if we can maneuver that sucker out of there. And like I said, we don't have to come up over top of the axle there, but should get her out. I haven't had it out yet, so this will be a surprise. Is the float on it, or is it not on it? Let's see. Check it out. They're notoriously kind of tough to get out of there. Damn thing looks brand spanking new. I don't understand why it won't work. Oh, there's the float. Yep. That just doesn't make any sense. I'm scared to death to put the other one back in. See if it works. You know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna hook that sucker up and see if it works outside of the car, you know? This makes no sense. It is, looks like it is brand spanking new. How is that possible? Well, but, you know, that doesn't look good. I'm not really sure why that looks burnt or fried, or I guess that was sitting above the fuel line, maybe. Maybe we'll take it off and throw it in a bucket of water and see if it floats. Don't know. Either way, there she is, wide open. But either way, we'll go ahead and stick the other one in there. Actually, like I said, I'm gonna hook that sucker up, turn the key on, ground it, and see if it registers any fuel. We'll be right back. So check this out. No need to check anything. Listen to that. Full of gas. Isn't that crazy? That goddamn thing looks brand spanking new, and the float is full of fuel. It just sank to the bottom. Isn't that crazy? I didn't even put in a bowl of water, just took it off of the clip. But jump. That's crazy, you know. And the sad part about it is that thing's probably in perfect condition. It just needs a float. So let's go ahead and throw the other one in there, and I bet we have a fuel gauge that works. Be right back. So check it out. We got this daggone thing. I'm trying to manipulate it into the tank, and that strap on the back there came, and this popped right off of there. Stuck through that hole there, and I don't know what was holding it on, but wasn't much holding it on, because barely pushed on it a little bit here and there while I was trying to get that thing in there, and it just broke loose and popped out of there. This thing is like, you know, rock solid. It sits back in there, and you grab it, beat on it. It looks like it's got a similar type of connection. It's just a little, like I guess it's like a little press rivet or something on the back of there. But that sucker's solid. So we're gonna drop back and punt, and when I get my replacement sending unit, we'll go ahead and give it another shot. Now I did try to fiddle with this while it was in the car. I thought I was going to be able to get that sucker in while I was in the car, but I ended up having to drop the tank out. I dropped the tank out, and that's as far as I got to drop the tank out, and I try to put that clip on it, and while I had it out of the tank, put the clip on it, it just snapped and I'm done. So we'll get another one, get it popped in there, and we'll see how it works. So check out underneath the car with that fuel tank out. Pretty crazy. Actually, great condition where the tank is, which is, I think, is unusual. But the only spot really that looks rough is right over here. Right up the front there, and right back here we got a little bit of ugliness. But other than that, the rails look pretty good. The tank's pretty good. The rails over there aren't too hateful. A lot of surface rust, but other than that, looking pretty good. Get our tank back up in there, get our sending unit hooked up, and we'll be ready to roll again. All right, so we have the tank out of there. That ended up being what's going to be the easiest way to get this thing in there, because it was a little bit tough to press in. But for the most part, you got to remember that we've got these little tabs on each side of that tank, and that basically lines up the float and the filter to go down onto the bottom. You can see on there that they have the little tab right there on that side and tab on that side, and just got to fiddle with this thing a little bit to get it in there. You stick that way, turn it that way, then come back this way, go down in the hole, set her in there. I took and put some gasket cinch on that rubber seal there and stuck that thing in there so that wasn't falling all around while I'm trying to push this thing in there. But get her set in there, and then we'll get the ring and we'll stick the ring on. So for the most part, this ring is just gonna set in there between the tabs. And I took and flatten these down a little bit because this thing is pretty tight trying to get it started. And you gotta kind of press down on it and get underneath of that, push the gasket down some, and get each one of these started underneath each of the tabs, so that it'll turn like down here. And then we knocking it around, it likes to try to knock in different directions and doesn't like to get started under each one of them and stay square. You can already see that it's like pushed that way some. I'm trying to start under here. Now that one's actually completely missing and doesn't look like it even went down in there. But it's a little bit of a fight, so I'm going to set this camera down, and I got myself a hammer and the little thing to knock it in there with. And we'll tap on it and we'll see how she goes, and I'll get back on here and show you what it looks like after it's on there tight. So we got it on there, start it, and just got to go a little bit more. I'll beat on it a little bit harder, but you can see where the lip kind of gets taller there as it goes underneath each of these three side clips, so to speak. And you basically have to tap this thing here, and it kind of shifts this way, and then you got to tap it over here and it shifts that way, and you tap this one down here and it shifts up that way. So you got to keep kind of tapping it all the way around until it gets down on there snug. And if you get any of these not under these tabs, it'll definitely leak on you. You have to get all three underneath of the tabs, and you have to tap it around until it gets tight. I tried to, like I said, I tried to do this up in the car, and it was like just such a pain in the butt. I pulled it out, but it really seemed like I needed to start the one on the bottom first, because it's almost like the whole thing was sitting on the bottom of the tank a little bit, or just the way the weight of the sending unit sets in there hanging, that puts all the pressure on the bottom here in the front. So if you try to start one of these up here first, the bottom one doesn't go in. So I started the bottom one first, and then I was able just to press these down and get them started after that. So it's a little bit of fiddling with it, but don't get frustrated and don't damage the tips or tabs or all that good stuff. Just take your time and relax and work with it. So we're going to throw this baby back up in there and then throw some gas in it and see if our gas gauge works. Thanks. All right, guys. Last time was a total fail trying to get this tank on there. I replaced the seal because I thought maybe the old seal was like too hard, but I got this one. This sucker seems like it's pretty tough too. Last time I had some grease on it, so this time I figured I'll try some WD-40 on it. Get it on that lip. We'll see if she'll start on there. Here we go. Now pretty much the tank is empty. It has a little bit of residual down in the bottom of it floating around, but I tried to get as much out as I could so it wouldn't be so damn heavy. But we'll see. I'll get it back in on top of that hanger in the back first. I almost forgot about that. And get the bolts there in front. I'm trying to make sure I miss them. Not really sure what the heck is keeping it going on. I don't know if I'm going over there crooked. I'm going up in there straight. I feel like that might. It feels like that's kind of close, but hard to tell. We'll see if we're anywhere close to getting the strap in place last time. We weren't even close to getting the strap in place, so that put a damper on it. Yeah, here we are again. Except I feel like I'm all the way up there. So it feels like I think we're kind of there. Maybe. Just gotta flatten this out a little further. Get it up higher. Thinking maybe my problem isn't getting the tank all the way there. I think the problem is getting the strap all the way up on there. Wonder, let me see. Let me strap back here. Might just be a function of getting the strap. I had to bend the strap back here a little bit in order to get it hooked up in up there. And that might have taken some of it. Oh, there we go. A little bit extra strap. Let's see if we're getting close. I got a bolt here. If I can get a bolt on, got a chance. So you're saying there's a chance? That's amazing that it's that damn tight. Let me see like it's close. Just slide the whole thing back. That way I'll get back it over. Oh, that seemed to do it. That got me where I get a bolt on it. Let's see. Oh yeah. You know, it's always the stuff that you think is going to be not so tough. It turns out to be the toughest. And the stuff that you think is going to be really tough sometimes just goes your way. There we go. Now, she started. How about it? All right, well, we'll go ahead and get the other brace on there. Reconnect these fuel lines. And we should be able to dump some gas in it and see if the old fuel gauge is working. Woohoo! All right, guys, let's check it out. There's the, go ahead and plug it in. How that? No gas in it, so I ain't gonna read anything, but this will be the first thing I put on there. Yeah, baby. There it is, guys. Yep, look at that. One win at a time. Fuel gauge is working. Hot dog. Man, that was like, it's like a fight. Yeah, I tell you, that's one of the other things I got to get on. No dash lights, but hey, one thing at a time, baby. One thing at a time. Well, that's the end of that saga. Now we have all of our gauges working. Is that crazy? That's more than I can say for my Challengers. Both of them, you know, I got no gas gauge in the convertible for whatever reason. I think I must have lost ground or something on that. And I've got some no oil pressure gauge or on the orange car, and forget what else on that one. But these things, I'm not the best with electric. So, you know, live and learn every day. It's really nice to have YouTube these days. I know when I was younger, if you didn't know, you just didn't know. You had to try to find somebody that could teach you or tell you how to do stuff. But nowadays, it's like the Matrix, baby. You plug in and you're done. Thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed it. Subscribe, like, come on back and check out some more videos.